Hey, here we go. How you doing, everybody? I'm Manny Vitelli, host of My Fight Our War and Manny Vitelli's Wolfpack. And I told you I'd be back. A few little technical difficulties with my the old gimbal stick flip flopping and doing all that crazy stuff. Well, just come back and sit in a nice, cozy studio, air conditioned. Wonder Dog Susie doesn't get much better than that. But anyways, I told you I'd be back, and I am. Just going over just a bunch of different things here. Sometimes I was talking to some friends at the gym, and one of my buddies, he's like, what's, is your back bothering you? And I was like, my back, I mean, I just had surgery. He goes, you just look a little like you're either hurting or just not in a good mood or something. And I said, you know what, it's just frustrated. I've said it before many times, man. When you want to, you want to do so much, and it's such a change in our lives. I mean, think back when we were having issues dealing with whatever it may be, whether it's just a shitty mood or dealing with addiction or dealing with whatever it is. And there were times where, man, all you wanted to do was nothing. You wanted to just kind of kick back because you were hungover, you were tired, this, that, and everything else. And back then, if someone would have said, you know what, why don't you just relax for a while? Um, you would have jumped at the chance to do that. But I look at things so much differently now that I want to be doing something all the time. All the time. If I'm not doing something, it's just like um, I feel guilty. It's like, man, I should be doing something right now. And even when it comes to recently with my surgeries and all that, where they're the doctors are like, listen, man, you have to do this, you have to do that. And my whole theory, with surgery, and I'm only speaking for myself. Just like with addiction and all that stuff, you got people who are, they mean well, but sometimes they're just running their mouths about, well, to get the help you need, this is what you have to do. You have to do this, this, and this, and if you don't, well, then you're just going to be, just keep falling on your face. And people mean well and all that, but that's why I said when I started up My Fight Our War that I'm not going to sit there and tell people you have to do this or what to do, what not to do. What we will do is give suggestions and stuff, but share stories, what's worked for you, and we are all different. That's the key to this. We'll sit there and just like all the different, I mean, just go to social media, all the different support groups, all the different families, organizations, and all the other. You can meet people socially with like My Fight Our War and all the other. Just go right down the line. All the other social media groups, families that are there to help. And then you've got the ones in person. You go to meetings in person and all that stuff. What works for some doesn't work for others, and that's just the way that with that first step, man. When you jump into something like this into recovery, I mean, it's terrifying. We know that. And I remember when I got home from the hospital, I had some family and friends come over, and a couple of them were deal or not dealing. They were in recovery, and I had two friends that came by. The one was sober for I believe it was like almost 30 years. The other one was like 20 some years, and then even others, as well, when they hear the whole story, what happened, and thank God you're still alive. And well, this is what you have to do, and this is what you're going to feel, and these are different things that are going to happen that you got to prepare for. And it was so overwhelming at times. And then at the gym at one time, I was talking to an individual who sat there and was like, "Well, Manny, listen, you have got to go to in-person meetings. Not none of this online shit. Can't be doing that. You have to be in person. You have to have physical contact. You have to face this and you have to do that. And you have to get a sponsor and you have to call. And I mean, had this freaking, I mean, all these things. You got to do this, and this. I was so agitated and irritated that I was like, shit, man, you're gonna lead me to freaking drink, coming at me with all this stuff. And and as I've said many times, we all have things that work for us, no matter what that is. If we're dealing with life in general, if you're doing something a certain way, it's like, hey, listen, I mean, anything from sports, hobbies, you name it. I mean, you got people who are doing freaking working out at the gym. I mean, I can't even tell you how many times I've been at the gym. I've been training for over 30 some years, and I've heard people in there who will walk up to people. Well, if you're looking to gain size, or if you're toning, if you want bulk, if you want mass, if you want this, you have to do this because that's what I did. And look at me. It's like, well, you know what? What works for you, thank God it works for you, may not work for everyone else. We need to find what works for us and pursue that. It's that freaking simple, man. And it really is. Now, we all, every now and then, will hit our little plateaus where we just kind of get stuck and you're like, man, just kind of, I'm not going up, I'm not going down. I'm just, things are kind of in limbo right now. And that's where I like to go back. And as I said, share ideas, man. I remember for a while there we were chit chatting, and I had some people that were sending in posts that were having issues because certain things were causing triggers, and it could be anything, And that's another thing. What may cause you to have that god awful fear of relapse, you get someone else that same situation, it doesn't bother them at all. That doesn't mean they're stronger, you're weaker. It doesn't mean that at all. It just means that we're all different. And we were talking about that as far as different ideas, and as far as attacking triggers, that you do something, or you may see something that makes you feel like you're going down that road. Well, you know what? Counter it. Let's do something just the opposite to focus on something positive. And I was at the gym today and just talking with some people, and it was a nice, relaxing day, just in there, and just having some conversation about everything from life in general, my back, time off, the weather, you name it. We were talking about it, and just sit there and you people watch. Well, sometimes you people watch and you people listen, and it's just amazing that people have you know the best intentions. I mean, you want to help people, and when something positive happens, and this isn't for everybody, but I know as far as like for myself, especially in the position I'm in now, when something positive affects me and it gets me on that, I'm on a roll now, man. The first thing I think about is how can I share that? I want, I have been so blessed by in so many different ways. And then I found out when I started sharing ideas and sharing different thoughts and things that were helping me. And then other people were chiming back in saying, hey, listen, I did this, I did that, and it really helped out a lot. Like, you know what? Even the feeling of the positive attitude, and not just, looking back and being pissed off all the time and angry and upset at, your failures and shortcomings, is look at the positive things that we have done in our lives. The things that have happened in the past. I mean, and I'm not inventing the wheel here, man. I mean, we all know this. You can't change the past. Leave the past in the past. We've heard all that too. I've had a lot of people, tell me, well, don't talk about that stuff anymore. That's not you anymore. That's not this. Well, you know what? Yeah, it is. It's a part of me. And if it wasn't for that part of me, I wouldn't be the person I am right now. And so I've had a few, discussions and disagreements with people about things like that, how what their thoughts were, compared to what my thoughts were. And I've said it a lot of times too, as far as confrontation and, controversy. Controversy is a good thing because it brings about conversation. No arguing, no yelling, no screaming. Controversy, conversation brings about ideas, thoughts, possibilities that we didn't even consider because we were just so blinders on going down this one path and that was it. Well, then once you allow yourself to start looking at things through, clear eyes and an open mind, it's like, huh, you know what? This shit works. My way is not the only way. Now there's certain things where, you got to stick to your guns, man. And sometimes you start to doubt yourself a little bit. And you know what? It's okay to doubt yourself. I mean, we're human, and it was bothering me today because I was hearing these people and the one a couple guys were just talking shit, about how this person's doing this when they should be doing that, and then this is how this should be. It's like, first of all, who are you? I mean, what are your qualifications to be telling anyone all of this amazing things, anyways? And I don't care if you have degrees. I don't care if you have all this, you know, uh, knowledge, education, and all that. If you do, God bless you, for doing these things. But at the same time, man, don't forget that I don't care how many initials you have after your name or at the end of your name or how many degrees you have. You know, just because you have all that doesn't make you better than somebody. And just because you don't have it doesn't make you worse than somebody. It just was kind of, aggravated me a little bit. So, of course, I had to kind of chime in a little bit with my own subtle way. And I was just like, you know what? Because they were saying how, it doesn't matter what you say, and even if it really hurts somebody, it's a good thing and this and that. And I just sat there. It's like, man, and here I look back at my life in the past, and that was kind of like me. I didn't give a shit about anything or anyone. And now it's just totally different. And it's, it's just nice to and refreshing to still you do things to progress your life in a positive manner. That's what's important. But when they were saying it doesn't matter what is said, what's not said, yeah, it does. Our own words can, I've said it before, can haunt us. They could be so motivating, and at the same time, man, you say the wrong words at the wrong time to the wrong person, and it can be devastating. I mean, we need to be supportive. You don't want to just sit there and be someone's yes man, and you know, basically be being an enabler. I mean, that's the last thing that we want. So, I was just sitting there, and luckily, the people I was talking with, that kind of joined the conversation, felt the same way. And the one had a son that was dealing with some serious issues, legal issues, recovery issues. And so, we had this conversation back and forth a little bit at a lot of different angles. And, just that conversation and just sharing different thoughts and ideas. Hey, did you try this? And just putting it that simple instead of, well, you know what you need to do. You know what his problem is, and you know what this, and you're just forcing something down someone's throat. You're going to get a negative outcome. You approach that same thing in a positive way, you're going to get a positive outcome. And you still are saying it the same way, but using different words. It's like, well, what do you think about maybe trying this instead? Or did you try that? Or just throw it near court to try to get a little more positivity out of things. And so it was just, it was an interesting day. And, as I'm sitting there, it was funny because being off work sucks. I freaking hate it, man. And I've said before that you're just sitting there, and it should be one of the easiest things around because here you're not working. Okay, well, what do I got to do? I got to heal. I have to, just relax. If I'm doing too much, you start to feel, in my case, issues with the stomach where they went in. I got to be careful because that's what happened the day after surgery. I started to hemorrhage. So I have to be careful with that. But at the same time, I have to be up moving around because of they put that the bone into my spine, the donor bone into the between the vertebrae. I have to have a certain amount of movement to help with the healing process. So here I've got the one group of surgeons saying, you know, don't do too much, relax, and the other one saying, get up and move. So it was just finding that balance, and just one of those days, you know. So it was a good thing to get to the gym, you know, get the mind going, you know, focusing on positive things instead of, you know, the things that are bothering me. And you know, and for me, I'm shit. Okay, the hardest decision I got to make is what time am I going to get up? You know, what time am I going to the gym? What exercises do I have to be careful of? You know, just stuff like that. Where, okay, now you're starting to feel a little bit, you know, you did a little too much. You go home and you chill out. Boy, sounds like a tough day, huh? But yet, you know, to some people, you need to be active. So, you know, the bottom line is we're all not just cookie cutter people. You know, what works for one doesn't work for the other. What makes this person happy is not going to make that person happy. And, you know, it's just like, you know, that old term, you know, well, I was doing some people watching and it was kind of funny. Well, yeah. And I was doing some people watching and people listening. And it was like, oh my God. I mean, did I start thinking me back in my days, especially under the influence? Whew, I sat there and I started laughing. And my one buddy's like, what's so funny? I go, I was just having little flashbacks of, you know, what a complete ass I must have sounded like many occasions. But so it ended up being a nice conversation. You know, had a nice little workout in there, did some stretching, back felt good, so felt good physically, felt good emotionally. Earlier today, got to go down to the Father Solanus Casey Center and see. I ended up seeing my very good friend, my brother Sydney, and you know, talk about looking at limitations. That man has gone through a shit ton of stuff too. He was in a severe car accident when he was just a baby, and that's why he has issues with his walking, his, you know, just everything. I mean, here he was a preemie when he was born. I found all this stuff out after we started talking, got to know each other, and I tell you, he just his outlook on life. If I'm feeling the least bit down and I go to Father Solanus Casey Center, that alone brings me up. I mean, just for me, and again, now see, for me going there, I always said I'd never push religion or politics, and I'd never will, and it'll never be pushed on my fight or war. But on the other hand, sharing things that help, and being there helps me so much, man. Just sometimes I'll go there, and depending on the time of the morning, I mean, it is. I'll be the only one in there, and it is so peaceful. I mean, just so peaceful, and I'll just sit there and just staring around at the, you know, just the stained glass windows and the statues, and it's so quiet that it's almost loud, and just taking in all of the beauty and everything that it's about is such a wonderful feeling. And so, you know, being there earlier today and then seeing Sydney and, you know, there's these candles where you can get a candle and you light it and you know, say your prayer, whatever you want, you know, your own time of meditation for you. Well, it's this whole section against the wall that are full of candles. And Sydney is the caretaker. He is the one who, when the candles burn all the way down, he takes the empty contain or the empty glasses and the candles back into the gift shop. And but what'll happen a lot of times because of, you know, you being outside, you know, exposed to the elements with the wind, a lot of them get burned out. And we were talking today, and he said, "Yeah, the other day it was pretty windy." He goes, "So I was here for almost an hour." He goes, "I was just lighting and relighting candles." And he says, I take it personally because people come here, they put the candles down, they light them, and they sit there and they say their prayers, and then they go on their merry way." He said that it would bother him when he would see a candle go out, or he'd come up and candles were, you know, they got blown out. As he said, he goes, I would relight them because I want to make sure the prayers find their way to heaven. I mean, that's Sydney. And just that conversation, man, that something, such a small act of kindness on his part that people will never know, because once they light that candle, they're gone. They don't know what's going on, if it's still lit, if it's not. And, just the little things in life that are just, that can make such a big difference. And it's those little things that in the past that could care less about. And now it's those exact same things that I look forward to every day. And there were a couple pictures with that I had, and it said memories from a year ago, some from 5, 10, 15 years ago. And there were a few that this has happened over and over. One thing that I really enjoy is sunrise, and just going down. And it's not just seeing the sunrise, but I like to get there. Let's say sun comes up at 6 a.m. And there are people that would get there at like 5 to 6, 6 o'clock, a little after 6, and they take pictures. If the sun, I check the forecast to see what time it comes up. Let's say it comes up at 6 o'clock. I would be there sometimes at 5:30, sometimes a little bit earlier than that. Even, I mean, I'd be down there and it's dark, and but I just love it because even before sunrise, you start to see these colors come in, and it's quiet. And just seeing, it's almost like the departure of what was the night before, with the darkness, and then all of a sudden starting to see that glow, and then the rays of the sun, and then the different colors. I mean, it is absolutely beautiful. And it's just like, okay, I've made it through that night. That darkness is gone. It's seeing the sunrise to a new day, new possibilities, endless possibilities. The only limits that we have are the limits that we put upon ourselves. And, just sometimes I'll sit there and I'll think of different goals and things that I want to accomplish. And then, I'll get a little bit, it's like, okay, well, I should be doing this more. And I'll kind of get a little bit focused. And it's like, well, wait a minute. Don't be uptight about not achieving your goal yet. Instead, what I do then when that happens is I kind of pump the brakes, and then it's like, okay, well, look where I was. Look where I was, 5 years ago, 3 years ago, a year ago, and all of the accomplishments that have taken place since then. And instead of looking at the past and all the negative things and beating myself up over, shouldn't have done that, I shouldn't have done this, and being angry and upset, screw that, you know. But you know, learn from those, of course, but then look at all the things that happen that kind of intertwined with all of those negative things by advancing in a positive way. So it's like, oh, okay, so I did that. Take, the credit for the amazing things that we've done, and be proud, be happy, of yeah, yeah, I did that. You know, I made these goals and I set these goals, and I didn't just accomplish them, man. I crushed them. And you know, uh, does that mean I'm done now? Not by a long shot. That means it's time to set another goal. Um, One thing I did, talking to some people and just discussing that, goals, things you want to accomplish, and all that. And some people get a little bit too crazy, and you're talking about stuff. And what I don't like is when people say, "Well, that's a little you know, unachievable." Well, first of all, who are you to tell someone that their goals and dreams are unachievable? That right there, you say that to me, and it's like, well, I know what I'm going to do. Challenge accepted. Challenge freaking accepted. And so, yeah, you don't set yourself up for failure, but you don't set yourself up to just be mediocre either. We just strive to be the best we can be. And you know what? It just, for me, I just don't ever want to settle, like to be, doing podcasts. I've never done this before. And, thank God with all I was just sitting here looking at some of the people that I've just so fortunate to know. And, Brad McLeod Sober's cool. Dan and Donna Hard Knocks, Jared and Brianna from Blacklist Podcast, Dylan and Alicia, High Sobriety, David Riggins over at Heal, Josh and Ty over at Scarnation, Pam over at Sassy and Sober, AA Fan, Care, Ian Bick, Jody over at Swaggy Sober, and all of these other, Cat over at Sober Patrol, and the numerous other people that we have all become family because of such a dark place that we were all at. And I've said before, man, is just think if it wasn't for this shithole of a place we were at, we wouldn't know each other. We wouldn't freaking know each other. And well, we got going on. Vincent, Sheila, how you doing? 90 degrees, humid. Sorry you're not feeling well, Sheila. But yeah, when it's 90 degrees and hot and humid, and I don't even when you're feeling good, man, 90 degrees hot and humid sucks. Unless you're those people that love 90 degrees and hot and humid. And those are, I work with a couple over at Wolverine, man, with a good friend of mine, man. The hotter the better. Yeah, the hotter the better. But anyways, so like I said, just a little bit of blender brain, a little bit of everything today. Just sitting there at the gym, talking with some friends, hearing different things. And it's just like every day, man, life is a classroom, man. I mean, you learn something new every day. The difference with me now is I keep that open mind and learn and embrace it. And doesn't mean I want to use everything that I've been told or the things that I've learned, because some of the things just aren't for me. Some of the things I don't agree with. Some of the parts of the things I've been told or that we discussed. Okay, take little parts of this, little parts of that, and you create your own thoughts, your own ideas, and go from there. So it's just all in our mindset, and the way that that the whole thing too is be good with yourself, man. Be happy with yourself first and foremost. And for a long time, I know I have. You put that fake smile on, and you just try to bullshit your way through life, and and then people are surprised when you finally do open up, and it's like, well, I had no idea, man. You never said anything, and I know I'm one of those people that I don't want to sit there and dump all my problems on someone, and that's just not the type of person I am. But at the same time, it gets to a point where we need to do something. We've seen what happens when we don't ask for help. We've seen what happens when our families and our friends don't ask for help. And unfortunately, some of our family and friends are no longer here because they didn't ask for help. And some it was too late. And just that first step is always the toughest, man. But I mean, I never in a million years thought that this would be my life. I never thought that all the thing looking back at our my life, my history, what's gone on in my 58 years. Sometimes I'll just sit here and just shake my head. It's just like unfreaking real, man. But when I get to those times and those moments where it's just like a little frustrated, I remember, and these are just my feelings and my feelings alone, is I fall back and I rely on my faith. And I know that God has a plan for me. And in the past, it was just like I didn't want to even hear that. Is my plan, and I'm going to change what I'm going to change, and I'm going to do this. And looking back now, it was like, man, I was clueless, absolutely clueless. Now looking at my life and knowing, with my faith and the things that I hold true, that, yeah, you know what, I'm going to stumble, but I know I'm going to get up, and I know I'm going to get up stronger. and I know that there's positive things that are just that it just in the past where you get upset thinking of things that maybe aren't working out right. Now I look at things that aren't working out right, and it's just like, okay, because that wasn't meant to be. The reason I wanted it to work so bad though, because this really meant a lot to me. Well, shit, if that meant a lot to me and it didn't work out, it's because it wasn't meant to be, which means what's gonna happen is gonna be spectacular. It's gonna be 10 times better than what I thought was good. It's gonna be great. So that's kind of where I'm taking things one day at a time and realizing that and again, this is just my beliefs and my faith are that I know that God has a plan for me. And my thing is, and that's all of ours, is we have to believe in ourselves. We have to have that faith. You know, we're going to have people come at us and with negativity. It's up to us to resist that negativity. It's up to us to stand up and be proud of who we are, be proud of who we've become, and just squash all that negative bullshit. And it's not, no, man. Okay, the things that I did in the past, yeah, it pisses me off. It upsets me, but you know what? I learned from it. And now I'm going to take these steps to become even better. So, all right, folks, that's the words of wisdom for the day. And I hope you guys have a great day. Enjoy this weather. It's not, Sheila, I'm sorry that you're not feeling well. And the 90 degrees and humidity, hopefully that you'll get a little break from that here. It's not as humid in Detroit, but it is still pretty warm. And I saw that it's supposed to heat up again towards the beginning of the week. So one day at a time. So, and don't forget this Sunday at 6 o'clock, I'm going to be live with Pam from Sassy and Sober. We're going to go over Pam's story, her life, the things that she's been doing, the things that she's doing and going to be doing in the future. So please check us out this Sunday at 6 o'clock with myself and Pam from Sassy and Sober. And the way today's going, plan on seeing me again later on. So you guys have a great day, and we'll be chit-chatting soon. I love you guys, and keep fighting the good fight.